Hello, hello, hello. Okay, all right, we're back again. Lost Mine of Phandelver. Let's do it. I've been working my way slowly but surely. I wouldn't say slowly. There is a lot of NPCs in this adventure, and I've been leaving Harbin Wester kind of alone because Phandalin is one of those locations when you're dealing with the Lost Mine of Phandelver. It's very tempting to present all of the NPCs all at once, and so I only focused on 3 for Phandalin. But I will start talking about the other NPCs in Phandalin as time presents itself, and I thought that Harbin Wester is probably one of those characters that most players are going to interact with more than any other character outside of the other 3 that I've already covered before. Now, you will find the start time for this live stream down in the description for those of you who are interested. You can jump on down there. I will make this unlisted, this video, so you will find it hard to find unless you go through your notifications. And look, normally with my live streams, I present everything first and then I open up for questions and answers. I'm going to be doing the same thing for today. I just want to make sure that my sound is working fine and that my video is working correctly as well. It's all sort of important, right, to make sure that everything is working. You will get to see my face, so if you're worried that you will only see sort of static images and so forth, don't worry about it. So if you haven't been part of my live streams, I usually open it up at the end for questions and answers. So make sure to have your questions already sort of lined up and ready to go. So don't run away when I can't get to the end of my presentation, because I'm not gone, I'm just doing other things. Okay, so settle down, grab some food, grab some drink, make yourself comfortable, and let's start talking about the Lost Mine of Phandelver, because that is the topic for today. Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. And today it's the Lost Mine of Phandelver Dungeon Master Guide. Now, for those of you who are players and are playing in the game and not a Dungeon Master, this is the time for you to go and watch one of my other videos and not this video. Because today this is a Dungeon Master video. So once you've played through it, by all means, but I have hundreds of videos you're welcome to go and check out if you are a player. Now, if you are a Dungeon Master, you are in the right place, because we're going to talk about, as it happens, Harbin Wester. Harbin Wester is the elected Townmaster for this year in Phandalin. Currently, he's got the job. And if you turn to page 18 of the Lost Mine of Phandelver, most of the information regarding Harbin Wester is situated right there. Now, it looks like a lot of information, but in fact it's very little. So that means I have to use my brain, read between the lines, and create a few things for you so you have something to play with or use. Otherwise, you've got to come up with that information yourself. Currently, Phandalin doesn't have a full functioning elected government. There's no full government in Phandalin whatsoever. There's just Harbin Wester. That's it. He's not like the sheriff. He's not a constable. He is just an elected town individual who essentially serves the purpose of being the judge and dealing with minor disputes, keeping financial records and birth and death records, the sorts of things that some sort of person involved in being a town master would have to do in Phandalin. That is his role. So he's a paper pusher. That's really all he does, nothing else. The town master doesn't have the money or the support or even any kind of law enforcement whatsoever. There's no constable, there's no sheriff, there are no deputies that have been appointed to him to help enforce the law currently. So his hands are really tied when it comes to doing anything in Phandalin. There's not an awful lot the individual can do if you don't have law enforcement of some kind. Now that the Red Brands have moved into town, he's got really no way of dealing with the issue whatsoever, because he's still waiting for help. He's still waiting for the Lord's Alliance to send him some assistance, which in fact he's still waiting, and he's been waiting some time. There is an individual who is on their way who is supposed to help him out. That's Sildar Hallwinter. I've done a video on that particular individual if you're interested. Now, Harbin Wester is a male human banker with only a theoretical experience or knowledge of law, and that's law with regard to Neverwinter and Watersdeep. That's really it. The rest of his experience and skills is practical in account keeping for a bank. And in the past, he's had his own bank, he's run his own bank, and given enough time, he certainly would like to run his own bank here in Phandelver. But things have not gone well so far. He took the job because no one else really wanted the job, and thought it might give him a wider appeal so that he could open a bank in Phandelver and then, of course, sort of rake in the money because he would be the only bank in that location holding everybody's funds. Well, it didn't work that way, did it? Access to the town funds has been a joke, and he's regretted the appointment to this location, something he didn't think he would wind up finding himself in such a bad situation, but he has. The red brands are outside of his league. He really can't deal with them at all. He's fat. He overeats often. This is usually stress eating. Also the fact that he's wealthy, so it's not like he has to worry about feeding himself. So he tends to eat, one, because he is wealthy and he has access to pretty much anything he wants, but also it's around stress. In the past, when you work in a banking environment, although you get a lot of money, it's very stressful, and so that's sort of part and parcel of his nature. He's quite pompous. The old fool hasn't accepted that he is out of his depth and has chosen to ignore the townsfolk who disdain him because of his lack of action and acceptance of the situation being untenable in Phandelver. As a result, everybody in town hates him with a vengeance. Really, they do not like him at all. Harbin is afraid of the red brands and really has been playing down the protection racket they are running in Phandelver. So far, he's sort of referred to them as being a mercenary guild and described them as basically not really being too much trouble, that they're just around. It's not really something that people need to concern themselves with. That's, in fact, incorrect. But that's the message he tells everybody else, and the message he tells himself. At this present time, his own funds have not been affected by the red brand. So everybody else is paying protection money, but he himself is not paying any protection money. So as long as that's the case, he's really not going to make too much noise. The Townmaster Hall is very small, and it has a jail cell in the cellar. There are 2 cells. Harbin carries the jail door keys, but he's never actually used them. In fact, he very rarely goes down to the cellar, seeing that as sort of outside of the scope of his job. Of course, he was given the cell keys for a reason, but of course, when people assigned him and allowed him to be appointed as the Townmaster, they thought they were getting a Townmaster who would deal with the books, deal with any issues and disputes, and also act as a constable or a sheriff of some kind. But that's not something he's capable of doing. He is desperately waiting for Sildar Hallwinter, an old Griffin rider, to show up and sort out all of the problems that are starting to develop. And there are more and more problems occurring in Phandelver, which are completely out of the scope of Harbin. His ideal is to make money, and as much money as possible, and he'd also desire to sort of line his own pockets. But there's really no significant money floating through Phandelver right now. Even though it's a new and up-and-coming growing town, it's not really the jewel that he was hoping for. Harbin doesn't have an awful lot to do with the Gundren Rockseeker or the Gundren brothers, but when the dwarves showed up, he had hoped that Gundren Rockseeker and his brothers would be able to improve trade, and because they were dwarves, he figured that they would open up some sort of mine, and that there would be the transport of rare ore, gems or metals that would help boost trade, and also that would be a perfect time to open a bank to store all of their wealth that would be flowing out of this mine. It hasn't happened, and unfortunately he's had to adjust his plans to that, which is really he has no plans whatsoever. He just sits there hoping for his appointment time to turn over. Once the year is out, he will hopefully be able to just drift off, or he can hold out long enough till the Lord's Alliance can send Sildar Hallwinter or some assistance to deal with all the many problems that he's had to contend with outside of his own scope. There is only money to pay for the removal of the orcs that are raiding along the Tribord Trail. So some of the quests that the players can get, or their characters can get, is to deal with the orc problem or troubles along the Tribord Trail. Currently there is 100 gold pieces as an offer, and he's not going to offer any more. He's not into bargaining. When it comes to money, he's sort of right, this is what I'm paying, this is what you take. He's not really going to negotiate, and really he doesn't care in the slightest if the orcs cause more problems anyway, but the offer is out there because the townsfolk have asked for this particular issue to be dealt with, and money has been afforded him to do this. So he can't sort of, because they know exactly how much money has been put into the pot for this, he can't siphon off anything, and therefore he'll have to offer what the townsfolk have said, this is what we're going to put forward. Money has come from about 10 to 12 different locations. Most of them are actually owners of businesses in Phandelver currently. Now, if they start asking him questions about Cragmore Castle and where it might be located, it's a mystery to him. He's got no idea. He's going to leave that sort of issue to Sildar Hallwinter if Sildar Hallwinter does make it back to Phandelver. And if the players have any questions, they need to refer all of their questions to Sildar Hallwinter, because as far as Harbin Wester is concerned, that's outside of his scope. They're dealing with the orcs by paying somebody off to go and dispose of them, but when it comes to things like goblins, hobgoblins, bugbears, and any other threats, and even the red brands, there isn't any money to deal with them, and he doesn't really know enough about it. He spends most of his time sort of locked behind doors, keeping to himself. When they start asking questions about the red brand's leader and Glassstaff, well, Glassstaff is somebody that Harbin Wester doesn't talk about. One, because he feels like if he talks about Glassstaff too much, the red brands might target him, and then he's going to wind up losing money in the form of protection money having to be paid. He can, under closed doors, essentially only tell the players' characters that the leader of the red brands is Glassstaff, and he knows no more than that. He knows really nothing about Iano Albric. In fact, most of that information will have to be collected by individuals within town, because Iano never went and saw Harbin Wester. So they have never had any contact, and he was completely unaware that Iano Albric actually showed up in Phandelver at all. So not an individual you can actually get information out of. What you might find in terms of combat is that Harbin Wester is not a fighter. He's never going to get into a fight. He's going to beg for mercy, and he's probably going to try and run away if that doesn't work. He's absolutely useless if you want any kind of information. If you're looking for information, not really the individual you want to talk to. Now, when it comes to a character like this is really very much your stereotypical sort of Townmaster who has only themselves to sort of deal with the situation. So his response makes a lot of sense, given that it's outside of his scope, that it's outside of his experience level, and that he does not have the resources. So when you start playing this character, try to remember that he's playing it, you're playing the character as if it's an individual who really is just a banker who wound up biting off more than he could chew, and certainly if somebody can deal with the situation and get him out of this pickle, he would be quite happy. Now, if you have any questions, by all means, you go for it. Ask questions. If you want to check out some of my other videos, and I have hundreds of them for players and dungeon masters, as it happens, I have a huge playlist for the Lost Mine of Phandelver, which is covering just about every single NPC and location within the adventure, And if you are looking for information on the Lost Mine of Phandelver as a Dungeon Master and how to play through that adventure, you will find something. I believe the playlist is called Lost Mine of Phandelver Dungeon Master Guide, and you're welcome to go and check that out. Now, if you want to support the channel so I keep doing videos like this, I have a Patreon page where people can request videos. They get access to all of the live streams and all the Q&A at the end, which go unlisted normally. You will also get access to a few special things that nobody else gets access to. I have a affiliate link down in the description where you can buy stuff online from Amazon and the book depository, and I get a small commission, which is always nice. I also have a merchandise shelf, which I have adjusted prices for, so you should find them reasonable, and if there's anything that appeals to you, great, go for it, check it out. Now, make sure to share, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell button to be notified when I go live and when I publish new videos, and I do that quite a lot. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. I'm not gone. Just give me a second. I need a drink of water. I'll grab my glasses just in case. My eyes aren't doing too badly today. Maybe it's just there's more light outside. All right, drink of water. Glasses. And is my hat in place? I don't know. Let's have a look. Let's see. All right, let's have a look at the chat. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so hopefully YouTube will catch up with me. Lordy Sparky. Howdy from Houston. Okay, he's from Texas. How's it going? Now, hopefully people found this useful. This is, like I said, I mean, I go live so much. So if you're here, I will answer questions outside of the Lost Mine of Phandelver. So if you have questions that you want to ask, then by all means, this is a good time. It doesn't matter whether it's a player question or a Dungeon Master question. I'll deal with those things. By all means, just go for it. Hi, Joe. How's it going? Gulf Shores, Alabama. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Nicholas, what do you got here? You're from Brazil. Okay, cool. Big Kid is here. I played more... Okay, hang on. I played more as a doofus. I never thought of treating him like that. Well, yeah, but, you know, there's nothing wrong with doing what you did, Big Kid. I am just presenting Harbin Wester as an individual who really, when I played the character, I just played him out as if he was in a situation he could not manage. It was outside of his scope. It's not like he was Clint Eastwood and, you know, when somebody came into town, he would just be able to pull out his 6 guns and gun them all down in a row. He was not a fighter. He was just a bureaucrat. And not even a bureaucrat that dealt with the law that often. He was a banker. That's it. Nicholas, you mentioned before that that running into the orcs can be traumatic. Did you cover that already in the past video? Okay, so I did cover a video that talks about not so much Wyvern-Tor, that particular encounter, but I do talk about their boss, okay, Axebiter. So there's a video called, how was it? What's his name? Give me a second. It's been a little while since I did that video. I know it's around because I know I covered it. Yeah, let's have a look here. Where are you? Yeah, Brugor Axebiter. So there is a video called Brugor Axebiter. You'll be able to find it. I think the live stream and the edited version should be up. The edited version's definitely there, and the live stream should be up if you want the Q&A at the end. I don't specifically remember if a lot of people asked very novel questions that weren't covered in the actual edited version, so you'd have to check that you're out if you have time. If you don't have time, then so be it. So yes, Brugor Axebiter, I've done a video that comes around that. What else is there? Dylan, how's it going, Dylan Baxter? Hey Fred, what would you do if a PC were to kill Harbin or if the Phandelver citizens wanted a new Townmaster. Well, look, here's the thing. I think, Dylan, it would make a lot of sense that the townsfolk would want a new Townmaster. That makes a lot of sense. But the problem is, his term is 1 year, and his term is not up. And they can't really kick him out until his term is over. Unless, of course, they go with the lynching concept. Could Harbin Wester get out of that situation? I think he probably feels like he has no choice but to wait it out. Fear from the Red Brands, and fear that the Lord's Alliance and the townsfolk may run him out of town, because he's got to go somewhere else. If he drops the job, he's got to leave town. There's no way he's going to be able to stay around. So I think that's part and parcel of the issue there. Now, if one of the player's characters decides that they're going to actually dispose of or kill Harbin Wester, I think the problem is that Sildar Hallwinter would have issue with that. I would imagine that the townsfolk would frown upon it, but chances are they might even keep that on the low, just because if whoever disposes of Harbin Wester comes in and can solve their problems, then it's to their advantage. But that does actually make them, sort of part and parcel of the crime. So if a player wants to actually get rid of Harbin Wester, I wouldn't stop them. There are always consequences, and it's up to you how you would play that out. But Harbin Wester's in a really bad situation, and I feel like, given that Harbin Wester is despised by everybody, he's got no friends, the chances are you could do that and no major repercussions would occur. The only fly in the ointment for this is Sildar Hallwinter. He would frown upon that and certainly get involved, and that could cause a lot of problems. But if they can do that without Sildar Hallwinter being around, not so easy to do, then that's a different story. Okay, James Bond. Thank you, James Bond. We have somebody famous in the house, James Bond 007, one of my favourites. I love your work, by the way, James Bond. I've really enjoyed every movie. In fact, I have even the really bad ones. In Her Majesty's Secret Service was not the best James Bond movie, but I still have it. Love those movies, have them, and been watching them for years. Okay, sorry, I just couldn't help myself. I was by Gulf Shore this spring. Gulf Spring. So you guys weren't that far away. Joe, bad news, Fred. My party didn't get to play through Wave Echo Cave yet, and my boys went back to their mothers till Christmas. Oh no. Guess I have more time to prepare. Ha ha ha. Joe, I'm sorry that worked out that way. I honestly, I did not, if we're talking about Christmas, chances are, even if I wound up not being able to do this full time, which I currently, it's not, I'm doing it full time, but it's not paying its way. There's a good chance I will get all the material around Wave Echo Cave done. At the rate that I'm going, we're almost there. I honestly feel like there's only a few more NPCs really left to go. Maybe a month or two, and it's done. And then locations and how's your father? It's all over. And Lost Mine of Phandelver has a complete series of videos that people can watch, and it's just going to be down to people. When they ask me questions, I'll be referring them back to those videos, because most of them are pretty solid now. I feel like they were dense enough and condensed enough to do what they needed to do. I do apologise if the live stream is a bit laggy. I'm just going to check. It looks like it's lagging at my end. No, it's not. Apparently not. You'll let me know if the live stream is sort of falling apart, and what I can do is I can put a still image up, and that will take the pressure off YouTube if I have to. Okay, just a drink of water. Too much talking. Dylan Baxter, yes, that's right. Phandelver doesn't have any Townsguard yet. Not an iota of Townsguard. Sildar Hallwinter is supposed to hire individuals to do that. his role is really not even to be a constable or a sheriff there. His role is to, and I've talked about Sildar Hallwinter, so if you're wanting to talk about Sildar Hallwinter in more detail, I have a video on that topic already. But no, there are no Towns Guard in Phandelver. So Harbin Wester doesn't have any forces he can use. Potentially the players' characters could be that, but there's no money to pay them, so they would have to sort of work for themselves, clean up the town first, and then once trade is moving through and the citizens who have businesses who can afford to pay money, and so if they're not paying protection money, they can at least pay money to the town law enforcement to keep order, and that would be part of the parcel of the role of the Townmaster to find individuals, employ them, and pay them to do this job. It doesn't pay well though, so I don't feel like our player characters are going to stick with it. What are they likely to get paid? They're not likely to get paid a lot of money to be a small town guard, and it's likely to be a particularly dangerous job as well, considering it's surrounded by danger and other elements. Okay, Dolphus, what do you got here? Yes, they have guards in Phandelver. We call the Red Brands. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, unfortunately, the Red Brands have sort of assigned themselves as being the guards or protection for Phandelver, but it's more of a it is essentially more of a an outlaw bandit group. Okay, Joe, I agree. You're pumping out the videos lately. I have. I don't know that it has solved a lot of my problems. I would have thought I would have got more going by doing more videos, but it hasn't worked out that way. Maybe it's just a product of the people who watch my stuff are essentially the same people, and there's only so much time they have. Might well be their case. So Joe, what do you got here? I missed a lot of the live streams. I really liked the long form content a little better, but I know it's not great for trying to make money on YouTube. No, it's not. The only time you can do it is if you have, the type of content that people like. And the only live stream long form content on YouTube that has done well has honestly been. There really hasn't been any, not that I can think of in Dungeons and Dragons, because even Critical Role doesn't live stream onto YouTube anymore. It's all going onto Twitch TV, and then they put their stuff up later on YouTube, and it doesn't matter because they've got enough people who aren't able to watch the Twitch channel and who go and watch it on YouTube later on. So it works out for them fine. But yeah, no, it's not a good way. To be fair though, if you're looking for the live, experience, I do use Twitch TV 2 times a week, and that's long form content where I do talk about stuff, and essentially all of that is painting, and I talk about Dungeons and Dragons. So there's an opportunity to talk out anything you like. It doesn't matter whether you're a player or a dungeon master. I'll talk about anything. You just got to make sure to highlight your question in such a way that I can see it. Little symbols are always good. J Mac, thanks for all of your great videos. You're welcome, J Mac. Hey, and look, if you like these videos, make sure to share them with other people so there's more people watching them. It's one of my biggest problems is as a creator, I can't throw things onto certain social media groups too much because there's a limitation of about 1 video per week, and I do far too many to be able to put them on. I would be considered spamming. So yeah, a little bit of a problem there. Okay, so I think we've covered everything. There won't be any more live streams for today. I'm going to go and do my homework and get ready for tomorrow. You will see the edited versions will go up eventually. I don't know when. It depends on processing time. Like I said, everything else will go over to the Patreon and go unlisted. So if you're wanting to watch the whole thing, then that's sort of how it works. And tomorrow I am really going to give it a hard shot. I'm going to definitely try to do a paladin, relentless paladin character build, and it's It's a doozy, I have to say. It's a doozy. It is not my creation. One of my friends, Simon Abbott, has put it together, and I hope that people enjoy it. Okay, that is me for today. So have a good day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you to all of my patrons who support me. Thank you to everybody who's come and watched. That's always awesome too. And look after your family and your friends and yourself. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.